How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve. Welcome back. So something really great happened this past Friday, June 20th, 2025. Jaws turned 50 that day. And I have to say, this is probably my favorite movie of all time. I probably watched this movie even more than like Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. And it's really because of the cast. Really, Robert Shaw, Richard Dreyfuss, Roy Scheider, that cast is really great in this movie. In this movie, I actually went to Barnes& and Noble on Saturday and actually picked this movie up again. I had this one on 4K already, but really what makes this one really great is because it has a 50th anniversary documentary, Jaws at 50. And this movie it's actually marked on the box here. It says 33.99. It says it actually rang up 50% off. If you know that Barnes and Noble are doing like a 50% off, I think they're doing some kind of like universal sale. I think it's 50% off. I know that this if you look online, this one actually shows like 30% off online. But I went up to the register and I had my rewards card, and she asked me if I was actually a member, and she rang it up, and it rang up like $18.18. So I couldn't believe that. Like I said, I had this one on 4K already before. I'm actually going to trade that one in and get something else, something really great probably with that. But when I saw this, this is actually a 3 disc set. It comes with the Blu-ray, the 4K, and it comes with that extra bonus disc. I actually watched this movie 3 times this year already. I actually watched it maybe like a month ago. Then when I bought this, there was like an issue. If you have to really be careful when you open these up, because I've noticed that other videos I've shown this, and like one of the discs will kind of fall out. Like the documentary disc they had like the documentary up front, and then I noticed that if you watch Heath on Serial at midnight, he when he got started folding it open, one of the discs fell out, and the same thing happened to me when I did this. So I definitely wanted to watch the Blu-ray and the 4K, make sure everything played correctly before I actually trade in the other one. We'll make sure it plays correctly. So, but I was really happy with this documentary. It's like 90 minutes long. I think it was on like National Geographic or something originally. And I'm showing like the thumbnail. It's what it looks like as far as the documentary, but it's really great. I think Greg Nicotero was actually like a producer on it. If you know Greg, he's part of like The Walking Dead. He's part of K&B Effects at one time. If you ever watch Day of the Dead, he's actually has a part in that movie. Basically, George Romero gave him like his start in the film business. So he loves Jaws. I think he saw Jaws several times in the theater when he was a kid. And on the documentary, they have like lots of like famous filmmakers that talk about how Jaws really inspired them to become a director. Steven Soderbergh's one of them. He said he saw the movie, I think it was like 31 times in the theater, something like that, back in the day. So that's really a testament of how popular this movie is. I probably watched this movie maybe 30, 40 times in my life, maybe more than that. Obviously, you have Lorraine Gary, and they have Murray Hamilton as well. I think he's like the mayor of Amity Island. And I've learned so much here just watching all the special features here. As you know, like Peter Benchley actually get the book out here. He wrote the book. If you ever read the book is different from the movie. Peter Benchley and Carl Gottlieb were actually like co-writers of the screenplay, and it's really interesting to have like the novelist part of the screenplay, because he Spielberg kind of suggested some things that they changed for the film, and it usually like you get the novelist, and they usually don't want to make changes to their movie. But Spielberg's actually he's great at kind of convincing people to do things, and so they made these changes. I'm going to give some spoilers here about the book, because it's a lot different from the movie. Especially they have like there's like a mafia kind of backstory to it. You have like a love affair between Matt Hooper and Chief Brody's wife. That's Lorraine Gary. Interestingly, there's like a backstory where like she dated Hooper's older brother, and there was like an affair. And in the movie it's different, but in the book, Hooper gets killed by Jaws. So wisely, Steven Spielberg took all that stuff out of the movie. He took all that and made it a straight line kind of story between these three guys and the shark that they're battling and at sea, trying to capture or try to kill. So I'd really recommend checking out this YouTube channel. It's called The Daily Jaws. It's run by Ross Williams. He's had like filmmakers and actors on it. He's had like Simon Pegg. He's had Jack Quaid. He's had Nicotero on it. He's actually had, in some of these, he's had like Jeffrey Kramer. He's the guy that played the deputy in Jaws, the original movie. I think he may have been Jaws 2 as well. But he actually pops in like on the live stream with like Simon Pegg, and he just talks in there. And so he gives these like firsthand, witness kind of stuff from the movie. So it makes it really special. I don't know why he's doing that necessarily, but it's really great that he's on that. Does it really gives it to somebody who's actually still alive from the original movie. 50 years ago, you got Roy Scheider and Robert Shaw are both deceased now. Murray Hamilton's deceased as well. Actually, Lorraine Gary's actually like 87 now. So that's really, really great. Like I said, Richard Dreyfuss is 77. So some interesting facts about the movie. Robert Shaw was 48 years old when they filmed this. He was 51 when he passed away. He had like a heart attack, but I can't believe that because I'm 51 years old myself. Obviously this 50 years ago. The film was like, they started it like in 74, so it's possible he may have been like 47 possibly when they started filming, but he looked much older than that in the film. Obviously they put a lot of like facial hair and they made him look really old, but he wasn't that old really, but compared to like today's standards. But I love his U.S. Indianapolis story, USS Indianapolis, and that actually the sinking of the Indianapolis was actually June 29th, 1945. So we're almost like at 80 years now since that actually happened. So, you think Jaws is 30 years after World War II. So in the movie, they talk about the 50th annual regatta. Apparently that's supposed to be like a series of boat races. I guess it's supposed to go through like July 4th through July 10th. And the mayor talks about how they need summer like tourist dollars, and they can't close the beaches because of that, And so apparently that's because of the shark sightings that gets canceled in the film. So this movie was nominated for Best Picture. It actually lost to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I would say as far as movies that have stood the test of time, I think Jaws is still relevant now. Even though you see like the hairstyles and the clothing are definitely dated. But I would say people rewatch Jaws every year because of like July 4th. That's probably why, and also because it's such a great cast. Steven Spielberg didn't even get like an Oscar nomination, which is kind of interesting. Back then I think they just had like 5 films get nominated, and usually the director of those 5 films would usually get nominated, but Spielberg didn't. Obviously, he wasn't like a huge star as far as a filmmaker at the time, but it did win like best original score from John Williams, the iconic score. You have obviously the best editor, Vernon Fields. That's amazing that she passed away like maybe like 7 years later, just to have a female to win best editor, and actually it actually won best sound as well. So obviously everybody knows that Jaws was like the first summer blockbuster, and obviously Star Wars 2 years later knocked it off that pedestal at the time. But and another thing about the movie I think is really great is that they had like the yellow barrels. I don't remember in the book if that was kind of mentioned in that or not, but I know that because they had problems with the mechanical shark, they named Bruce. Apparently that the barrels were kind of like representing the shark. When you couldn't see the shark on screen, the barrels were kind of there. Every time you saw the barrels, you knew the shark was somewhere nearby, and it definitely added to like the tension of the film. So everybody, I really appreciate watching this video. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how much Jaws means to you. Is it your favorite film? I think that maybe younger generations may not relate to the movie quite as well, but like I said, to me, it's still a relevant film 50 years later. It's one I'm going to continue watching at least every July 4th, but a lot of times I find an excuse to watch it more than once a year, just because it's a really comforting kind of film. Please, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing that. And please put a thumbs up on this video, and everybody have a great one.